Again, on this monitoring progress, the goal is for you to fast forward and check your answers. And if there's any that you got incorrect, you come back and you watch the process for each one that you missed. The general rule we have for recursive is a to the n equals a to the n minus 1, which is your previous number. And then if you're skipping by adding, you would add, you might subtract, you might multiply, but that's our general rule. So let's take a look and write the recursive formulas for each of these sequences. From 15 to 215, I went up 200. From 215 to 415, I also went up 200. So I can see that there is a trend that I go up 200 from my previous number, my previous term. So my equation is going to be a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 plus 200. Let's take a look at this one. Here we have alternating negative signs. So we know that that should probably have some kind of a negative value on there. So these numbers are going up fairly quickly, so I don't think it's addition. I think it's probably multiplication. So to get from 1 to 6, I would multiply by 6. And to get from 6 to 36, I would also multiply by 6. And if I go ahead and grab a calculator and just check the next two, I can pull up and see that 36 times 6 gives me 216. Okay, so I see a trend that it's all times 6, but I start out with a -1 and I end up with a +6. That means that my 6 has to be negative. So I'm going to be multiplying by a -6. So my equation would be a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 times, and you could put a dot there if that's easier, -6. So here's my equation on that one. This one, to get from 2 to 4, let's see here, I add 2. From 4 to 7, I add 3. From 7 to 11, I add 4. 11 to 16, I add 5. Okay, so these are going up by 1. So how do I put that into an equation? Well, here's something important to notice, and you'll see this trend if you start with +2. For my second term, I added which term it was, which was 2. For my third term, I added 3. For my fourth term, I added 4. For my fifth term, I added 5. So my equation for this is actually going to be um, the number that I add by is the same as my term number. So that means I've got a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 plus n. So let's try that out. If I've got, let's do the fifth, well, let's try it with from 2 to 4. So 2 plus 2, that works. 4 and 7, yep, that's working through our thing. So this is a little bit different. But if you see that trend with 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, it would start with a 2. All right, let's take a look at this one. Oh, almost missed this one. Okay, here we have um, from -3 to 6. I could say, well, let's see how it goes up pretty quickly. So I'm going to try multiplication. So that's times 2. 6, -6 to -12, that's also times 2. So I double each time on this one. So this isn't a very difficult one. So I have a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 times 2. And again, you can use the dot if that's easier for you for multiplication. Okay, for this one, from 37 to 67, that's 30. 67 to 97, that's plus 30. 97 to 127, that's plus 30. So I already see my trend. And so I'm going to do a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 plus 30. So there is the equation for that one. So those are my first ones, all good to go. So those are my recursive formulas. The next one, I need to find the first 4 terms of each sequence. Well, the good news is it tells me where I start. So this A1 means that I'm starting with 1. So then I'm going to go -1, and to that I'm going to multiply 2. So -1 times 2 gives me -2. -2 times 2 gives me -4. -4 times 2 gives me -8. So here I have the next 4 in that sequence. This one is a little bit more challenging, but you can do it, okay? This again is my previous one. So I'm going to start out with 10, and I'm going to actually put that way down here. So 10 is my first one. So what I'm going to do is take that 10 and put it into the formula. So A2 is going to equal 2 plus that 10 that I had from A1 over 2. So that's 12 over 2. So that's 6. So my next value is 6 in that sequence. Then I'm going to go ahead and find out what A3 is. That's going to be 2 plus, this is going to come down here now. So 2 plus 6 over 2. So that's 8 over 2, which is 4. So my next number in the sequence is 4. Then I'm going to do one more. A4 equals 2 plus, I'm going to take the 4 and then over 2. So I have 6 over 2, which is equal to 3. So the next one on my list is 3. So I have 10, 6, 4, and 3. And I'll move these up just a little bit more here. There we go. Okay. And then the last one, I have a start of 29, and I'm going to add 10 to each one. So 29 plus 10 is 39. Add 10, 49. Add 10, 59. So those are our monitoring progress to make sure that you understand how to do a recursive formula and also how to read a recursive formula to find your terms that you need.